ESPN Plus Originals.
Walton Arena, the 5-3 Arkansas Razorbacks welcome in the Furman Paladins. One of the great stories in last year's Big Dance. With Manny Watkins, I'm Fred Dolan. Delighted to have you with us. And Manny, it was Wednesday when the Duke Blue Devils came to town and the Razorbacks pulled off the win, and what a scene it was at Bud Walton.
An unreal environment. I had the luxury of being able to be there. You see the fans loving it, storming the court, 20,000 strong in Bud Walton Arena. You don't get that very often in college basketball.
That was an emotional win. Furman a couple of days ago had an emotional loss. This is how the game ended at Princeton.
The joy of winning and the agony of defeat, that's basketball. You see right here, give up an offensive rebound, pump fake, and hey, the rest is history.
An 11-point lead with 4 minutes to go. You thought maybe shades of the tournament last year, they would win with the 3. It didn't happen. A tough loss for Furman against a really good Princeton team. And the Paladins come in without their leading scorer, but one of the giant killers in college basketball. We're about ready to go. Don Daly, Bart Lennox, Mike Nance, our officials, and we are underway from Bud Walton. Minnie, what's it like coming back after that emotional win and trying to replicate that same intensity tonight?
It's tough. You know, a lot of people would classify a game like this, you know, almost a trap game where you have an emotional win against, you know, a top 10 opponent in Duke. But knowing Arkansas and knowing Musselman and the staff, these guys will be ready. And just on cue, Trevor Brazil knocks down the NBA pull-up.
Good start for Trevin off that 19-point game at Duke. And here's your starters for Furman. And again, no Marcus Foster. He was averaging almost 20 a game. So Coach Bob Ritchie did feel like they had their best defensive effort at Princeton. But this team really loves to launch the 3. And there's one on cue from Alex Williams, and he'll hit. He did miss 4 games with a hand injury, so they do get him back despite losing Foster. And here's your starters for Arkansas, Jeremiah Davenport. Another starting assignment. He's got that call in the Duke game.
This Arkansas team has so much depth, and you'll see this starting lineup change throughout the course of the year. You know, Arkansas kind of doesn't figure out the starting lineup till almost middle ways through conference. Chandler Lawson using that wingspan, but you'll see it shift. Davenport getting the consecutive start.
Ellis with the takeaway. Arkansas hasn't had many steals. There's Lawson. 2 quick baskets for Chandler Lawson, and he's really going to have a huge height advantage over the Paladins this evening.
Yeah, I mean, a guy that, you know, against some of the Power 5 competition, from a height standpoint, might not be the tallest, but those long arms make up for it. But tonight, yeah, he's going to be one of the big guys.
Another tough 3. It looked like Williams was falling out of bounds, but he's hit a pair of triples. He went to the same high school, by the way, Moeller in Cincinnati, as Jeremiah Davenport. So maybe some bragging rights with those 2 guys.
Oh, yeah. This is definitely going to get a text from the winner to the loser after this one.
And by the way, they're guarding each other. That's the fun part as well. At least they were.
That's fun.
Both wear number 24. A lot of similarities. So there's a rebound down to Garrett Heen, who had a big game against Princeton just 2 days ago. That's Pegues. He had the big hit in the NCAA tournament. He rains in a 3.
Knocking shots down early on. That's what you have to do if you're Furman.
Shades of that old Dominion game that we called a few weeks ago, when the Monarchs reined them in.
Yeah, knocking some shots down.
Here's the 224s on each other right now. Davenport and Williams. Now Ellis will hoist. Can't hit. Rebound to Williams. Heen with the bobble. And Lawson, there's another block at Arkansas. So good, Manny. What they did with the blocks. How about 10 against Duke the other night?
10 against Duke. You're talking about a team with a guy, Kyle Filipowski, who's, you know, one of the premier bigs in the country. And you got Lawson, Brazil, Graham, Makai Mitch. You got so many guys who can block shots. And this Arkansas team is one of the best blocking shot team in the country.
Yeah, second best in the country. There's Pegues. Maybe didn't want to go up against Brazil. That's a long 2. In and out. No. Rebound to Devo Davis. Off and rolling tonight from Bud Walton. First ever meeting between these 2 programs. There's Ellis. Nice. Reverse.
Great pass by Devo Davis right there, the elder statesman. Always seems to make a timely play. Always seems to know where the ball needs to go. He's such a luxury to have on this Arkansas Razorback.
Arkansas really likes to get Ellis going. He was 0 for 10 in the Bahamas, missed his first 4 shots against Duke, and must turn to his son and said he's 0 for 14. Then he got hot and had a big second half. Hawks will push here. 5 on 4. They'll take the 3, and there's Caleb Battle. No shimmy shake yet, but a 3 for Caleb. And by the way, that gives him 1,000 career points.
1,000 career points. That's awesome. What a career Caleb Battle has had thus far.
Boy, the Paladins love the triple.
They're knocking him down. You got 1,000-point scorer though coming off your bench if you're Arkansas. That's fun to have. See, Tremont Mark is at the scorer's table. Haven't got to see him in a few games. Glad he's able to play.
Indeed, we're going to give an update coming out of the break. There's Caleb Battle, and he'll add a 2 after that 3.
I mean, his confidence got to be at an all-time high. You have a big game against nationally ranked Duke. Shots feeling pretty good. 1,000 points on the resume.
It's a lot going on.
Yeah, it's a lot
That's
going on.
a good week.
He's got to be feeling pretty good.
Nice catch by Heen, and Lawson didn't block it, but he altered it.
Altered shot.
Hawks will push again. Ellis had his path cut off. Everybody feeling it right now, and Chandler Lawson buries the 3. He averages 7 a game, or averages 4 a game, and he already has put in 7.
That over-under is looking good for Lawson. Looking real good.
If you were worried the Hawks might come out a little bit slow from an offensive standpoint, fear not. 16 points in the first 5+ minutes, and maybe more. There's a takeaway. See if Brazil gets an opportunity. He was about ready to ram one home, but the behind-the-back pass from Ellis rolled out of bounds. We'll step aside and come back and give you a Tremont Mark update right after this. Hawks up 4. Bahamas, and I don't know about you, I thought he could be out for quite some time.
Yeah, I mean, college basketball fans across the world and country held their breath when that happened. Something that you never want to see. Glad he's doing okay, though.
Well, for an update on Mark, let's check in with Emerson Burris.
Tremont Mark took that hard fall, but after an MRI, it showed nothing serious. He was in practice on Saturday, ready to go. He was at the shoot-around today, ready to go. He's confident. And right before the break, he was at the scores table, and it looks like he's coming in.
Yeah, he was on a 34-point game against North Carolina when that injury occurred, and obviously his numbers made it look extremely good at 18.4 a game. And what Musk told us that shoot-around, it was still 3 hours after he was taken off on a stretcher that he hadn't moved, and the level of severity and concern really went up at that point. And then you're curious, how could you even get him home on an airplane?
Yeah, that was the extra layer that was so scary. Was, it's one thing, you never want to have that happen, but it's one thing, you're in Arkansas, you're in your home stadium, and something like that happens. You're in a foreign country, you're at a tournament. Yeah, you have to figure out logistics from getting home. It's just a scary situation, but him running on the court is something that everyone is happy to see.
I think the thought process may have been, who knows, it could be several weeks, maybe a month. Missed the game, and it was a big game, but Arkansas found a way to win against Duke without him, but I know he's happy to be back.
Yeah, really happy to be back, and everyone's happy to have him back.
Furman loves the 3. There's a miss, and the rebound tipped alive, and it'll stay. Furman basketball. This Furman team, they average 82 points a game. They're in the top 12 in the country as far as assists per game, so they really do love to move it. About 19 assists per contest. That's a silly foul on Makai Mitchell. Cooper Bowser also checking in. That is a long launch from J.P. McGee's. He's hit a couple.
Guy that is key player from that NCAA tournament team that beat Virginia. So he's not afraid of this environment. He's played on some of the biggest stages college basketball has to offer.
Makai Mitchell. Extra pass for Blocker. Sliding to the rim and scoring.
Blocker, I mean, he comes in, freshman, fearless, and every time he's on the floor, it's a matter of seconds before he has an impact on the game. Whether it's scoring, defense, planning, getting a rebound, he's just so good.
The tie-up, I believe we did. Blocker had 9 points against Duke, and to be on that stage as a true freshman, it was really an impressive performance.
Really, right there, just slides to the basket, and yeah, in front of 20,000 as a true freshman, and you just never see him sweat. Even keel, beyond his years from a maturity standpoint.
Bowser was in the game, was a high school teammate of Blocker. We'll tell you more about that later on. And Blocker just ran right into J.P. Pegues and picked up the foul. You know, Muss has talked a lot about this team playing hard without fouling, especially away from the basketball. It's one of a few kind of areas that he has pushed this team on to get better at, not committing so many fouls.
Yeah, I mean, obviously Arkansas is an aggressive defensive team, and with that aggression, you're going to get some fouls, but you have to limit some of the cheap ones, some of the ones further away from the basket, some of, kind of those unforced ones. But with aggression comes some cheap fouls every now and then.
Duke shot 31 free throws the other day. Usually that's not a recipe for success at home. And there's another basket by the Paladins. A rare 2 from Carter Witt. And Ty Mitchell just had that one slip out of his hands, maybe waiting for a different cut. Turns it over to Furman. Hey, nobody wants to play Furman. Muss told this team at shoot-around, nobody will schedule them. We did. This is the one chance Furman has for a big-time upset. Coach Ritchie mentioned to us before the game that they were sitting around in August. They did not have a single Power 5 team on the schedule. They know what happened last March, and, credit to Arkansas for scheduling them. But Muss's point was, hey, they're going to come out with every ounce of energy to try and beat you this season.
Sounds like some Power 5 teams are dodging a little smoke.
So,
sounds like it.
You don't want
not
that
Arkansas.
smoke.
You don't want it. But not Arkansas. They're going to schedule these teams. They're going to play these teams. It's going to be some good games.
Brazil, the rebound. He did say to Coach Ritchie, I would have preferred not to play at Princeton on a Saturday and here on a Monday if I could. But you can't pick the dates when a team says we'll play you. There's Mark. That must feel good for Tremont Mark.
Back like he never left. That looks good. The guy who hasn't played a lot, might see a little rust. That was right where he left off from the Bahamas.
For a guy who on Saturday was practicing but with non-contact situations, then to be able to play tonight was something. And speaking of something, Bob Ritchie's had a lot of success. I mean, I think people now beyond their region or their area understand how good Furman is. They've won 10 or more conference games for 8 straight years in the SoCon.
Yeah, it just has built this program to be a viable, year in and year out contender for that NCAA tournament bid. And you said it earlier. Whenever you have teams that don't want to play you and you can't get a Power 5 on your schedule, as a mid-major program, you're doing something right.
Yeah, 28 wins a year ago as Mark misses the 3.
Yeah, that's 28 wins. I don't care what league it is. Like that's
impressive.
That's a lot of wins. Great defense by Mark.
Mark knocked that ball out of bounds from behind, and it'll take us to another timeout. Good to see Tremont Mark back on the court. Fun beginning to this one between Furman and Arkansas. Here at Bud Walton, Hogs up 3. SoCon champions. A couple of years ago, they lost on a heave, a 3-pointer at the buzzer to lose their conference tournament, and they weren't in the Big Dance. Last year, they make it and win a game against Virginia. Mike Bothwell, one of the players that was a huge component of that team, is here tonight. He was supposed to be in Israel, but as you know, there have been some issues with that. And Jalen Slauson, another, was drafted in the 2nd round by Sacramento.
And that Furman team was no joke. And I mean, it was kind of almost a popular pick. A lot of people were taking that 4-13 Furman to upset Virginia. Asked me if I took it. I didn't. But fun game. And, one of those things that's why everyone loves March Madness.
The jump shot dropped from Heen, but a whistle first, I think. Officials are talking about him. They're going to go take a peek. Coach Musselman wants an explanation. Devo Davis picked up the foul. I guess the question is, Manny, did that shot from Heen take place before the foul?
Don't quite know. Looked like he was a little after, but
This ball bounced around the rim about 12 times before it fell in, and if that is the foul there, then that shot should not count. But watch this thing bounce on the 10. I mean, it rolled around and kicked about every portion before it dropped in. But speaking of Furman, last year they beat South Carolina. A couple of years ago, Villanova. And that's why Power 5 teams don't want to play you. But when you win a game in the tournament, it's hard to hide because everybody remembers March.
Yeah, it's tough time. And you have a team like Furman where you don't want to lose to them early in the season. I think we're getting some.
Hey, the basket's going to count, Manny.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Said it's good because he was in the act of shooting when the foul occurred and shoot a free throw. So apparently it was he that was fouled and not Devo fouling the individual we saw entangled with.
Yeah.
Might have to see that one again.
I might have to see it again. But yeah, as we were saying, when these Power 5 teams, they don't want to play at Furman and end up losing because that can really hurt your seeding in the NCAA tournament.
All right, we got a second explanation, and that was a good one, I think, as we saw the replay from Don Daly. Because the foul did not occur to the shooter, they get the ball back. Wow. So the basket counts, and they get the ball back, although maybe a turnover here, so it doesn't matter as Battle comes up with it. But that took replay and a couple of explanations, but we deciphered it, I think.
Missed opportunity there by Furman. It could have had potentially a 5-point swing. Turn it over. Can't shoot yourself in the foot. Good defense by the Razorbacks.
Devo Davis against Heen. Jalen Graham also in the game. Graham with a rebound. Played 2 minutes the other day, got into some foul trouble at Duke. Follows his miss. Didn't get called for the foul. And we're going to play on. Mark to Mitchell. And a left-handed lay-in is good. Arkansas was plus 12 the other day against Duke when Mitchell was on the floor and able to get that basket.
Yeah, he's so good. A guy that's older and has been around the block, understands how to win, and played at a few schools. And those guys, they don't have to score 20 points a game to impact the game. He does that with the best of them. So Arkansas just not giving up on the play. Mark lurking behind and getting the steal, finding Mitchell for the layup.
I mentioned earlier that Muss wasn't pleased with their fouling away from the ball, but they weren't also getting any steals. And he thought, surely if we're fouling that much 20, 25 feet away, we're jumping in passing lanes, we're getting a few steals. And he said that combination of committing those fouls but not getting steals or turnovers was perplexing. And since then, they've been a little more active turning the ball over.
Yeah, I mean, it's one thing. If you're going to be aggressive, you do have to come away with a few steals. You got to force some turnovers. And when you're not, it can really be painful, to the scorer when you're fouling and giving up free throws. Mark kind of lost it. Had a nice move going.
I did. I was hoping nobody would fall on him. That's enough. A corner three and a knockdown from P.J. Smith. He had 6 threes in a game a couple of contests ago, so very much within his ability. He's against South Carolina State. How about 6 makes from distance for Furman?
Yeah, already 6 threes, and it's a great equalizer. A team that probably doesn't have the talent level, doesn't have the depth, but you can knock the 3 ball down. You have an opportunity.
Arkansas does have the size advantage, so it doesn't surprise me to see Mitchell and Lawson getting some baskets. That's 4 from Mitchell.
Yep.
Lawson with 7.
I'm so impressed with Mitchell. Like, just a guy who knows his role, knows what he's good at, knows what he can do, and does it really well.
We're going to have a foul called against Tyrese Huey. Fouled Makai Mitchell. That is the first foul on the Furman Paladins in 11 minutes. It's hard to do that in today's day and age. Get just 1 foul in 11 minutes. I would say, though, going back to your conversation on Mitchell, that game against Duke was almost how I expected portions of the season to go. Davenport plays, knock down a 3 or 2. If Lawson comes in, scores 6 or 7. Mitchell comes in, score 4 or 6. A little more balanced scoring, and they had to without Mark on the court.
Yeah, you have to. When you're down one of your best players, one of your best scorers, this next man up, other guys have to step up. And Coach Musselman and his staff have built a team with the amount of depth that you need to withstand those injuries. You see right there, foul on Furman. But yeah, this team is built for that, and they showed it against a really good Duke team.
Devo Davis hasn't had a lot of scoring as of late, but he buries that three-pointer. He went over 1,000 points in the Bahamas against Memphis. Knocks down that three-pointer. Heen left open. Misses the three. A couple of years ago, Arkansas was outstanding defending the three. I think after that Old Dominion game, Muss gave them an F or something for a grade on three-point defense. He was handing out some difficult grades on the curve. And Furman was 6 of 9 before that miss. And that's a silly foul as well on you.
To do that.
That's his second, but Coach Ritchie had a pained expression on his face because he just felt like it. But yeah, that's 25 feet from the basket.
Yeah, that's one thing being a coach, which is so tough. Is you're on the sideline, you're not playing, but you got to look at every game, at least 3 or 4 of those. Yeah.
Yeah, you smack somebody on the head as he went through that motion.
The ref's probably going to call it.
Bagis controlling the basketball for Furman. Mitchell jumped out on Bagis. Nice back cut, tough maneuver, and an and-one opportunity for Alex Williams. Absorbing the contact, getting the hit, and a chance for 3.
That's just good execution right there.
Arkansas with the 3-point lead over the Furman Paladins. Pretty nice finish from Alex Williams. He'll shoot a free throw when we come back to Bud Walton.
Berlin has so much to offer. Staying in a room at Joanna's gave me a feeling of what it could actually look like to live there. It was my last night and we wanted something fun. Joanna is a really good singer, but I am very good with lyrics. The next day we could not really talk because we had such a good time.
Went for 13 and 7 the other day. 12 already for Williams. Keep in mind, Furman has picked to win the SoCon, and in that conference is UNC Greensboro, who already has a win this year on this floor, as Buchanan Mitchell will score. And for Muss, that was the first time he had ever lost a home non-conference game at Nevada or Arkansas to UNC Greensboro.
Yeah, I mean, you coach for a long enough time, you play it long enough, play as many games as you play during the season. It's bound to happen. Teams are so good. But for an Arkansas team, if you're going to have a loss like that, you want it early on to learn from it. And, UNC Greensboro is a good team. But this Arkansas team bounced back, beat a team like Duke, and, they're going to be just fine.
Tough basket by Carter Witz.
Yeah.
I turned one game over to you and Josh Haley, UNC Greensboro. I sneak out of town, and that's what you guys do when I'm gone. I'm watching it in Washington, D.C., thinking, what in the world is happening? Takeaway by Heen. Ellis almost took the deflection away. Witt just had the tough drive, misses the 3, grab a rebound. That's a Jalen Graham move right there.
Graham battle, when they catch the ball, it is let me get a bucket. Let me get a bucket.
off to Williams, and Williams was fouled by his former high school teammate Davenport. Davenport reacted as if, how could I commit the foul when Williams is knocked to the floor? Brazil and Lawson back in. Williams takes a seat for Furman. That Duke game, teams combined to shoot 61 free throws. It felt like a 3-hour football game, and neither team is in the bonus right now.
Yeah, like I said, I was at that game, and the momentum, kept getting stopped because there was a foul call. So you
or
love,
several.
Yeah, or several. So you love to see the flow of the game be a little bit better in this one.
Inside 6 minutes here in the first half. Arkansas's largest lead has been 5. And Lawson fouled by Cooper Bowser. 6'11" freshman. (20 to shoot). Arkansas for the half at 67%. With more twos while Furman's knocked down the threes.
Yeah, both teams have played well offensively.
Davenport. When he started the other day, he turned to Coach Musk before the contest, and he'll score here, and he said, "You want me to let it fly?" And Musk looked at him like, "What do I say here?" How do I answer that? Do you want me to let it fly?
You got to be real careful when you answer that one if you're a coach.
That's what you say when you go into the YMCA. Hey, you want me to turn it loose? I'm going to let it fly. Hard rebound by Molnar, and he was out of bounds. So if at first you don't succeed, keep going.
Yep. Lawson with that long wingspan and just right back up for the floater. This Arkansas team does a really good job of not giving up on the play. Second, third, fourth effort. That's how you win a lot of basketball games.
Honestly, that's how Furman lost that game against Princeton. There were several times where there were 3 or 4 shots in a sequence, long rebounds, and you give a team 3 or 4 chances, they'll probably knock one in, and that was the difference in a tough loss for the Paladins. And they don't want to see the Razorbacks miss a couple of shots, but then be able to gather in those rebounds.
Yeah, you can't have that. Those 5-6 plays are pivotal in basketball games, and you can't have a team beat you just by playing harder.
Davenport's going to let it fly now. Couple of twos.
See if you go in. That rim gets a little bit bigger.
It's 15 minutes against Duke, 25 against North Carolina. Arkansas try to extend this lead with controlling the Wake Forest transfer. He picked up that dribble too soon. On the drive, there's big Chandler Lawson. That's not going to work. Fans wanted to travel. Hogs will run. There's Brazil. The hammer! Oh my goodness! Whoa. You can see that one materializing. Trevin Brazil running the floor. And my only question, Manny, was the alley too high?
Yeah,
Trevin Brazil said, "Don't worry about that."
Bad pass. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Oh, that's fun. That's fun.
Let's take one more look, Manny, as we go to break.
Hey, that's just unfair basketball right there. Long wingspan, putting it down. Arkansas with a 10-point lead late in the first half. Dedication, I love it. And that's why you got to love these Arkansas Razorback fans. They're invested in this team, in these sports. Best fans in the country.
Williams will hit the 3. Arkansas had a couple of big recruits here. What does that mean to a kid who comes and watches this environment as far as wanting to play here at Arkansas, to see the students camping out and the reaction to the Duke win?
Oh, yeah. I was in the crowd, and I heard multiple people, just in passing saying, how could you not want to come here after seeing this? Like, it made me want to lose a couple LBs and ask us if I can come, get an extra year eligibility. Maybe
you just want to
give me some
NIL
garbage
training.
time.
Is what you want.
Well, that too. But you playing in that environment is that's unreal.
Witt with a step through, extra pass. Williams just knocked down a three. He was trying for another one. There's P.J. Smith. Couple of open looks. And I enjoyed hearing from that student, though. He was still fired up.
Yeah, he was.
He was still
That's
ready
fun.
to go. The fact that it happened against Duke when they had Krzyzewskiville there, and it was the 30th anniversary of the first game in this arena. Of course, Arkansas defeated Duke for the national championship. Coach K's last win came against Arkansas in an Elite Eight. John Shire had never been in an SEC building as a player or a coach. And there's the national championship banner. I think the Oklahoma City Thunder GM was here. It was a full list of people that were here for the very first time. Jay Billis and Dan Schulman, Butch Davis, the former football coach, Darrell Walker, the head coach at Little Rock was here.
Yeah. Well, Scotty Thurman made an
Scotty
appearance
Thurman,
as
I'm glad you
well.
mentioned that. Of course he'd be here. Manny Watkins and Scotty Thurman. Did Arkansas absorb the initial blow from Furman in those threes?
They did. I mean, you see right here, if you're looking at how Furman has shot it at the beginning of the game, you'd think this game would be a little bit closer. Arkansas weathered the storm. They're a great team. That's what they do. They made some shots themselves as well, though.
See what happens in these final 2 minutes. Hand off to Williams. He's been the big scorer against Lawson. They love that corner three, don't they? There's another knockdown. That's Carter Witt, his first triple. Maybe I spoke too soon. That's the 8th hit from distance for the Paladins.
Yeah, anytime you're pushing double-digit threes in the first half, you got to be feeling good. But, I mean, still down 4. This Arkansas team, they're just so good. You got a team that can hit 8 threes in the first half, and you're not winning. That's tough.
Basket by Mark, and we nicknamed him mid-range Mark earlier this year. He's shooting 62% on 2-point shots this year. Furman loves the three, and I thought that was down from Witt and it popped out.
Looked good from our RC.
Sure did. Fun first half. Ellis, that's his second reverse. Follows his miss, and then he drew the foul from Heen.
Ellis, one of those guys that, from Durham, North Carolina, got a chance to play against Duke. Probably a guy that, felt growing up out of high school, hey, like, I should have been the point guard for that team. Y'all should have recruited me. That didn't happen. So that game was circled on the schedule, and he had a good game. Didn't play that well in the Bahamas, and he was able to come in that environment and pick it up and bringing some of that momentum into this game.
If you would have told me that he was going to go to the Bahamas and in 3 games not score after what we saw in the non-conference, I don't think I would have believed it. But then a nice bounce-back second half against Duke, 9 points against his hometown school. 1 of 2 free throws here. Here comes Blocker back in. Furman's shooting percentage has dropped to 37. That's a tough drive. How about a two-handed stop by Brazil? We've seen the alley-oop and a two-handed block.
I mean, the athleticism of Brazil.
Hey, in addition to everybody that was here the other night, I mentioned the Thunder GM. There were several NBA scouts for good reason. Filipowski, a couple of new players. They also got to see Trevin Brazil in what I thought, man, he might have been his best game as a Razorback with 19 and 11.
Yeah, he's a gamer. He tends to play his best ball, when it's needed most on the biggest stage. And there's times where the motor isn't always there in some of the games like this, but when it's the primetime games, he's there and showed out in front of those NBA guys.
He was ready for a pick and roll, and I think Blocker missed it. Well, Mark's had a couple of turnovers, trying to find that game speed again. Baseball pass to Williams. How about Leighton Blocker with the block? Did you have that on your bingo card for the 6'2" point guard?
I tell you.
And there's a basket by Molnar, and Furman needed that one.
Yeah. Blocker, so good.
Debo for 3. That was Blocker, rather, and a miss. So the Razorbacks have a 5-point lead over the Furman Paladins at the half. It entered